It's time for another Eurovision 2026 news update. Vienna will host the 70th edition of the contest next year. We have a new controversial logo. There might be a new Eurovision Tour happening after the contest, as well as loads of national final news. Let's kiki. Hi, my name is Tom. I'm an Irish Eurovision analyst, and you can find all this stuff on my Eurovision channel. Before we start, small update on this channel. I've been doing my final review series where I go through all of the final performances from Eurovision 2025. I'm going to continue doing that as well. I've also got a statsy video coming up as well. I've just finished all the graphics for it, so I'll be filming that very soon. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of that. Okay, our main story is that the host of the 70th edition of the Eurovision Song Contest will be Vienna. It was a bid between Vienna and Innsbruck, and in the end, the winner was Wien. It is our first time going to a capital city since Lisbon in 2018, in case you saw on my Instagram. Follow me on Instagram if you don't already. Sorry, I keep telling you to follow me. This is the last time, I promise. I noticed a pattern that we've recently just been going to non-capital cities, and this is the end of it. Neda predicted that we'd be going to Innsbruck, but I think now at this point she's purposefully getting it wrong because she wants the meme to continue. So Vienna won the bid. From what I've heard, it was always going to be this way. They had way better infrastructure, better access to airports, accommodation, just everything that makes the EBU's life easier. For fans, it's much easier as well. There's tons of accommodation in Austria. I've currently got a place, it hasn't been cancelled yet, which is the cheapest I've ever gotten and the nicest I've ever gotten. So I'm thankful to the Eurovision accommodation gods at this point in time. Let's take a look at this bid. We've got this new heart, which I'm going to talk about when we cover the logo in the next story. We've got this beautiful Vienna. I love this little cute thing on the V. Very simple detail, but I think it's really elegant. And we have this new font for United by Music as well. It's going to be on the 12th, 14th and 16th of May. I think one of the main reasons it wasn't next week is that there's a huge football match on the 23rd of May. And obviously Germany is one of the largest markets. I think that's the reason why they went for this. But generally we tend to get the contest happening in the teens. Let's check out the moment when Vienna found out.
12 Punkte für Wien.
This kind of anticlimactic for the people in Innsbruck. I don't know if they needed to do a split screen. Obviously Vienna very happy there. So we're going to the 10th largest city by population in Europe, just over 2 million. It's on the river Danube, and actually it's super close to Bratislava. So I wonder, could this possibly affect Slovakia? Because they said the reason they weren't going to show up is because of finances. Girl, rent a van, get a bicycle. You can cycle to the arena. Literally, they could just send one artist. They need to pay the participation fee, which I'll talk about later, which is roughly around 100,000. And then literally expenses are almost nothing because they don't need to pay for accommodation. They don't need to pay for flights. Literally get a solo artist to sing a song. Get someone with a shaved head so you don't need any hairdressers. Slovakia, no excuses. You should be back in this contest. It's less than 60 kilometers away from your capital. So this is really exciting. Obviously, the last time we were in Austria was 2015. Also in Vienna, that was the 60th edition of the contest. This is going to be the 70th edition. Maybe they might have a couple of surprises, maybe some special shows as well. I thought Vienna did a pretty good job last time. I remember the stage was quite iconic, almost looking a little bit like a shell. I don't remember too much about the actual hosting though. That's before I had this channel, so I wasn't like overthinking Eurovision as much at the time. Yeah, I'm expecting there to be some Mozart references. I'm actually going through a little bit of a Marie Antoinette phase right now, who was from the Austrian Empire. So I wonder if they're going to be bringing in those kind of like Baroque influences as well. Maybe Pia Maria and Lumix could be reunited for the Info Act. I don't think so. I don't think they're on good terms. So things are really heating up. We're only a couple of weeks away from the September 1st kind of official start of the season. If you're a Eurovision artist, please don't perform your song now. Don't perform it at a Montenegro music festival. We don't want that happening again. So yeah, things are really starting to get going. I'm really looking forward to see what Vienna has to offer. Okay, now let's take a look at the new logo, which was announced a couple of days ago. Let's check out the video. I don't know if Mark and Oil are still the sponsors or not. The heart's thicker. It's Philip United by Music. I really like how that looks, and it's got the same tail as the Vienna does as well. And with this new 70, with this throbbing heart. So let's go through this part by part. First of all, we have United by Music. I really like this bit. I think it looks really, really cool. It's quite a formal font, but then I like this little tail on the U, which we also have on the Vienna as well. Maybe that was a little clue that Vienna had won because the U and the V are kind of connected. And then we also have a similar one on the second U as well, on the second line. Then we have this pink to blue font, which we know Eurovision staging is obsessed with pink and blue together. But I think it looks really, really, really pretty. I love that element of it. Next up, we have the 70. So the 70 is obviously they're going to be celebrating the 70th edition this year, but this heart, which is called the Chameleon Heart, that was mentioned on the Euro trip, which I just listened to this morning. Martin Green went on. Shout out to Rob Lilly and the Euro trip crew who produce an amazing podcast. So yeah, this Chameleon Heart apparently is going to carry on. So future host cities will be able to customize it in a certain way. Now it's not going to be part of a 70, but it'll be part of something else. But yeah, I like that. And then there are 70 layers in this heart, which gives it the 3D effect, representing the 70 editions of the contest. So that's really cute. So everyone's pretty happy with those two parts. The final part is this new logo. So it's replacing this old logo, which we all know and maybe love. I love it. Anyway, but yes, it's a new logo. And in that same interview, Martin was saying that this is something that they've been thinking about for a while. Plus, it's the 70th edition of the contest, so it's two birds with one stone. They wanted something that skewed younger. They wanted to have their own font as well. There's a kind of legal element to this, that they own the font and you need a license if you want to use it. So I don't know if I'm even able to put it up on my channel or not. But yes, it's just taking a little bit more control, renewing the brand. He said explicitly that they're trying to target a younger market as well. So this is meant to be more youthful. So I'm not the target market for this. I'm not, I really don't like this. I don't hate it, but I really don't like it either. The thing that bothers me is it looks like butter branding. And then also I saw the Balkan guy saying it looks like ice cream as well, which I can also see. Yeah, there's just something about it that's maybe too twee or childish. It looks like a good junior Eurovision logo. But for adult Eurovision, also the shape of it, the fact it's not flat at the bottom, and then the E at the start being lowercase, but then the E in contest is uppercase, I know irked a lot of people as well. And then also the heart is just more contracted into this less of the flag. Shout out to Stefan, who's redone all of these hearts for Wikipedia and for all content creators. But yeah, I just don't like how there's less of the flag showing. So even for me now, I'm just playing around. Even if the bottom was just flatter like that, I don't know. It's the shape of it. It's just, yeah, like a little bit more up, not that much so it doesn't cut off the letters, but you know what I mean? Like flatten the letters or something, I think would make it look better. And then fix the first E. And then I think we can do it. Then I think I could live with it. So Kian on Twitter did a redo of it where he used the old font at the bottom here. I think this looks much, much clearer. But again, in that interview, Martin Green said the song contest is too small. That's one of the things they wanted to make bigger because they don't want it to just be Eurovision. They want it to be Eurovision Song Contest. They want people to include that as well. So that's why they've made it bigger. I think just flattening it out or I don't know, cleaning it up. But I like what Kian did there because it's got the fun part in Eurovision and then a little bit more like formal and professional in the song contest. Whereas just having the goofy font the whole way, this new font is called Singing Sans. They've got their own custom font that they own now. But I'm not the target market, so what the hell do I know? I should just go die in a coffin. Okay, yeah, look, overall, I know Eurovision fans don't like new stuff. I found that out myself when I did my my hosting bid video. Like, it's not the worst, but yeah, I think it could just be fixed, like, quite quickly. I'm just surprised. I don't feel like they test these things out on enough people because the general reaction to this was pretty bad. I did a poll. 93% preferred the old logo, 7% preferred that. I think that's pretty, you could have just done a small feedback thing and gotten that, but maybe casuals love it because it reminds them of ice cream. Okay, next up, let's go to story of a potential new Eurovision tour. So this comes from ESC Discord reporting on the Lithuanian head of delegation, Audrius Girdzadas, sorry for saying his name wrong, who was talking about how the 10 finalists, I presume he means the top 10 of Eurovision, are going to be invited to participate in a post-contest tour spanning 10 European capitals, performing in major arenas. So it's an interesting concept now. Maybe these aren't the exact details, but assuming this is correct, you get the top 10 artists. Do you want to go on a tour? You know, if they say yes, there you go, the top 10. If they say no, I presume second place from this year wouldn't want to go. And so then maybe you ask 11th place and then 12th place until you have 10. It would make more sense to me to pick 10, like 10 of the fan favorites. Because that's going to be a very short concert. It's only 10 songs. I don't know if maybe they'll invite regional people as well. Like the concert in Spain will have some Spanish artists as well added in to fluff the whole thing up. But it's an interesting idea and it adds in an extra incentive for some artists. You know, they're going to be invited. So if they don't want to go, they can refuse. But if you're an up and coming artist, this is quite a fun thing to do. You get to go on tour, experience the big stage arena in many, many different places, get new fans, get some income. I think it's a good idea. Presumably they're going to be paid for this. So yeah, I think it's a good business initiative and fun thing for your fans to do in the summer. They can go to one of these 10 capitals to see their favorites if they didn't get to see them live in Eurovision. Let's move to national final news, but we'll stay on the topic of Lithuania because there are going to be some changes to Eurovision.lt, which is the Lithuanian national final. They are getting rid of their super final. In case you don't know, some Eurovision national finals have a super final. Denmark has one. Iceland used to have one, but they got rid of it last year. Estonia still has theirs. It's very Nordic, isn't it? It's very North Europe. You need to be Denmark or above if you want a super final. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of super finals because if you have a two-person super final, it means you can vote against someone. So it's not about liking a song. It's about voting for their opponent, so you vote against them, which doesn't happen in Eurovision. So it's not simulating the actual contest that people are going to. The other reason I don't like it is if you have three songs like Lithuania does or Estonia, you can have what happened with Alika. Alika was a great winner, don't get me wrong. But she was in the final with Bedwetter's Monsters, which was like a punk rock song, and Ollie, which was more like pop rock. Sorry if I'm getting my rocks wrong. But basically, she was the pop option. There was like a pop song, and then there were like quite two heavy rock songs. So in my opinion, Ollie was the best song in that year and should have gone. But I think Bedwetter's wet Ollie's bed. You know, I just think it's like, it just leaves it a little bit too much up to luck. That is not the fault of Alika or Bedwetters or Ollie. That's just random luck. And I think you should be trying to avoid random luck, stuff like that. So I'm not a huge fan of super finals, so I welcome this change from Eurovision.lt. Second up, televoting will break any ties instead of the jury. In case you don't know, that happened with Monica Lenkite. She drew with, oh my God, girl, my Eurovision trivia is just being tested today. It was the girl in the phone booth, I remember her name, Ruda Mur, who we haven't seen back. So they both had 22 points. Ruda actually only had 150 votes more than Monica Lenkite. Actually, I didn't know that. So that's actually, in fairness, they pretty much drew. Lithuania had a rule that a jury breaks the tiebreak, which is quite unusual. I think there's a couple of countries who have that, but again, they're mostly south of Denmark. Denmark is the country, north or south, where rules change. It's the pivot point of Eurovision. But yes, they're changing that now to the televote, which I think is better. Like, you know, again, if you want to avoid corruption, you want to not have the power too much in the hands of a small group of people because it's a little bit easier to manipulate. So I think, yeah, ties should be decided by televote, in my opinion. App voting introduced next to SNM. Okay, more votes the better. And then semi-final third placers take part in an online wildcard round for a spot in the final. So in case you don't know, one of the things that happened this year was all the controversy was the songs that were actually getting quite a lot of public support were getting killed by the jury. Even though they got huge televote scores, they couldn't qualify because their jury score was so low. And then we had some of the fan favorites not even making the final. I think the first and second songs that got the most votes, both of them didn't make the final. Oh my God, I need to look it up again. Why am I making this video so difficult for myself? Yeah, it happened here. You see Black Biceps had 3,000 votes, which up until that point was the most, but they didn't get through because of the jury. And then we had a similar thing happen with Lipa getting the, up until then, third largest amount of votes. You had these popular songs getting eliminated, so they were reacting to that. And they're changing the rules so all those songs will go into an online wildcard round. So I like this. This is LRT listening to feedback and making changes. So I really, really like this. This is a delegation with humility who are listening to people. They're open to criticism, which many delegations are not. Trust me. No cap on the amount of Monicas who are allowed to be in the show, or Rutas. We love Rutas and Monicas and Marias in Lithuania. So yeah, those are some encouraging changes for Lithuania. More national final news from UMK, who are continuing to innovate. They're coming up with a new system to select the songs for their national final UMK. They're going to have 6 juries. One of the juries will be a professional jury chaired by YLEX's music manager, Tapio Hakkanen, who, in case you don't know, is DJ Orchidea, who was one of the most instrumental people in reforming UMK in 2020, which has brought on Finland's incredible turnaround from Eurovision losers to Eurovision super gods. So this jury will then be joined by 5 public juries that are formed by a diverse group of people. So he's going to be the head of one jury, and then there's going to be 5 other juries. I think they'll probably have construction workers, LGBT+, grannies, whatever, you know, the way that Denmark does in DMGP sometimes. Between these 6 juries, they will select the songs competing to represent Finland at Eurovision 2026. One thing I hope is that with so many people listening to the songs, I hope that there's no leaks. Because once you start getting more and more people listening, we saw that with the Irish national selection. When the songs are sent out to a lot of people, people start being fools and leaking them. Let's see what Tapio Hakkinen had to say. UMK's influence in creating Finnish music phenomenon has grown stronger year by year. The successes of the previous season included Erkka Wikman's Ik Koma with over 30 million streams, Nelly Mattola, I always say her name wrong, Nelly Mattola's biggest radio song of the year, oh no, I learned how to say this and I've forgotten it, Hitamenhouten? Oh no. Sorry, Finnish people. And Goldilocks' breakthrough and great success with the English language song Made Of. UMK has no genre restrictions, and we hope to have the most diverse song coverage possible for our professional and audience juries to judge. Really exciting. More innovation from UMK. They are leading the field in terms of national finals. They won my national final vote by an absolute mile that I did. Check that video out if you haven't seen it already. And related to that is the news that if you want UMK's delicious scraps, their leftovers, their seconds, you can try to grab some of their reject songs, because they've also released new regulations for the 2026 selection that entries rejected by YLE are now allowed to participate in other countries' national selections. So much quality in UMK. You can pick up the scraps and the stragglers if you want. I'm thinking Ireland, Melody Festival and Dansk MGP are licking their lips thinking about all these delicious Finnish rejects that they can pick up. So this is interesting. Yeah, I think that makes it more appealing to put the song on as well. From songwriters, I'm guessing that some of the songwriters were probably complaining behind the scenes that they didn't want their song submitted and then just for it to die. I'm assuming that's what happened, and this is a national final that is in conversation with their songwriters and want to keep them happy. I think this is the type of relationship management that's really, really important for these countries who are really successful with their national finals. Keep your source of music happy. Okay, news about participation costs. Ireland has released the participation costs for Eurovision 2025. This is something that the Irish Mirror does every year because they want to do like a pissy piece about how we're wasting money on the contest, blah, 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 blah. Even though the cost that we spend on this is way less than other TV shows cost. It's actually very good value to get 7 hours of TV for around €400,000 compared to other TV shows. That is a freaking bargain. So let's have a look at these costs. Overall, the total cost was 385,761. 80,000 on staging, babe. Where did that money go to? Where is it thrown into the sky? I don't know. The girl didn't move. I don't know where that money went. Maybe the rocket costs a lot. I don't know how much Marvin Dietman is charging for his services, but yeah, wow. €100,270 on the participation fee to the EBU. And then further costs for the 19 members of the delegation. That's crazy. It probably could be a little bit smaller. Let's be real. 50,000. So they're spending over like 2,500 per person. It's pretty expensive. Now, this is not just Ireland. I think this is our insight into how many delegations are working. Flights to and from Basel, 7,500. Transport, so taking taxis, 1,400. Subsistence. The Daily Mirror will be saying that they're drinking champagne out of Fabergé eggs for €12,000. And representation, love it. We love some air quotation marks over an expense, 2,538. The key point about this for me is that the participation fee is going down. If we look, thank you to Eurovoix News for doing these numbers. The participation fee was 88,000 in 21, 92,000 in 22, 105 in 2023, which is quite a big jump up, but it's gone down since. It's gone down to 101,000 in 2024, and now it's gone down to 100,000, so it's even cheaper in 2025. That's despite inflation. So EBU are reducing the barrier to entry for the participation fee. So this is why it's a little bit confusing. You've got places like Romania and Bulgaria and North Macedonia and Slovakia saying that it's still too expensive to enter, despite the fact that it is relatively getting cheaper and cheaper every single year. So, and it's particularly for Slovakia, as I said earlier, you've got to look at all the things that you can control as well. Accommodation is definitely something you can make cheaper. Flights. I've worked with national sports teams and we've driven to events in a big ass van to make ends meet. So, there are possible ways to make things cheaper. And the representation could definitely be cheaper. I don't know what that is. That's kind of epic, actually. Next up, we got some news from Ukraine. So Spilny are holding a listening session to get views on its approach to Eurovision. So this is a Ukrainian broadcaster. They had a listening session in Kyiv to get input on how it approaches the Eurovision Song Contest. They had a listening session with fans to receive their thoughts on how the broadcaster currently approaches Eurovision. And the Ukrainian head of delegation, Oksana Sibinska, and commentator Tim Moore attended the meeting. So again, this is another delegation that is being humble. They are listening to the thoughts of fans. There's some delegations who are very cocky, very confident, and they would never do this. And then there are others like Ukraine and Lithuania who are listening to feedback and making changes. And, I don't think it's a coincidence that there are delegations who are thinking like this, who also have one of the most successful rates in Eurovision. Let's get an update on the participation list for the contest so far. We can see we're currently sitting at 20 countries, although one of the countries, their participation is going to be discussed in the meeting. The EB reference meeting, which I believe is the 1st of November. If someone knows, tell me down below. And there's still many countries to confirm yet. I'm guessing we're going to be somewhere around 37, 38, because theoretically, if Moldova come back, if Kazakhstan debut, we'll probably lose one or maybe two countries. I think that's going to put us somewhere around 37, 38. We've never had 38 countries in the contest before. Interestingly, there was a video released by ORF, I believe, with like a planned schedule coming up, and they said that they were going to confirm the participation list in September, which is super, super, super early, but then they withdrew that video. They removed it. So I don't know if that was a mistake or if that was but it was taken down. So let's assume that there was incorrect information. Okay, let's go to some junior Eurovision news, and Azerbaijan has confirmed its participation. So Azerbaijan going through a very interesting period right now in terms of their diplomacy. They just withdrew from Intervision, and then they've got this new peace deal with Armenia, and now they're entering junior Eurovision. So it seems like they're definitely picking a side right now. So yeah, interesting that they're going to be back in junior Eurovision. Serbia just announcing that they aren't going to be back, and Serbia are in Intervision. I believe Serbia is the only European country now in Intervision. And before anyone asks, I'm not covering it on the channel. Okay, let's have a look and see this updated junior Eurovision list. It's actually looking pretty healthy. They've got 18 countries who've expressed interest right now. Albania, Armenia, Azerbaijan. Will Azerbaijan and Armenia give each other points in junior Eurovision? I can't remember if they do. Croatia, Cyprus, France, Georgia, Ireland, Italy, Malta, Montenegro, Netherlands, North Macedonia, Poland, Portugal, San Marino, Spain, and Ukraine. That's a very, very healthy show up. We've got Azerbaijan, Croatia, and Montenegro returning, and Estonia and Germany withdrawing. So yeah, very healthy numbers. That's happening on the 13th of December. I will be live streaming that. I think I'll be back in Dublin then. I look forward to covering that. Okay, final story. There are some rumors going around that Loic Noite could be representing Belgium at Eurovision 2026. He represented them last time the contest was in Austria in 2015, where he came fourth. These are total rumors, nothing confirmed. The broadcaster has denied at this point in time, which they're going to do. But generally, Belgium are pretty early at announcing who their artist is. So if that is true and he does want to come back, we might be hearing about it pretty early. But I think Belgium will definitely want to be bouncing back after 2 non-qualifications in a row, despite being bookies' favourites. Okay, that is all of the Eurovision news. What did you think? Are you happy that Vienna is hosting? Do you like the new logo? What do you think? Leave me a comment in the comment section down below. Thank you to those who've been supporting me on PayPal and buying me a coffee. If you want to support the channel, I'll leave a QR code over here and I'll link in the description. Shout out to all of my wonderful patrons for patronising me from all around the world. Their support is so vital in the off season. Go check out my Patreon if you're a fan. But of course, thank you so much just for being here. I'm seeing another Eurovision news episode very soon. Goodbye.